And what I will do, I will present in a very synthetic way. As I understand, it was a long and intense day, as all in the forum days usually are. I will present the main outcomes and maybe main peculiarities we have observed in three study regions we've been analyzing during the project. Just to give you more visual idea of geographic location, we were focusing on Eastern Alps mountain chain, and specifically Trento province in Italy. In Alto Douro, small province of Villanova di Foscoa, in Macizo Noroeste mountain chain in Portugal. And in Spain, we were analyzing a situation in Huesca province, which is not far away from here, actually, and we have also some representatives of our Huesca value chain here with us today. In these three regions, all the main common factor is the key product is wine. You have already seen, thanks to Mark's presentations, all the complexity and multidimensionality of the moving project. But VINIDEA, in the framework of this project, had a particularly challenging task to analyze this situation around one product value chain, but located in three different regions. And in fact, we have encountered that all three regions we have analyzed have demonstrated very different approaches. Gianni, in his presentation, has made some kind of teaser of it, but now we will try to anonymize it and show in which region, which situation was happening. So we will start with Trento province in Italy. And here we are talking in a historic and well-consolidated value chain built around the production of still and sparkling wine from local and international varieties. This value chain is characterized by diversity of business models. There are many cooperatives. They are very important and pioneering from technical point of view, large private wineries, for example, Ferrari. And there are also highly represented small family wineries and small family farms producing only the grape and then giving it to the cooperative or to the large private wineries. Another feature of this value chain, quite favorable infrastructure for mountain regions. So we're talking good roads and well-developed irrigation infrastructures, energy and digital infrastructures. Regarding the knowledge, the agricultural knowledge and innovation systems, we have observed that there is a high availability of training and advisory services and research and innovation entities like universities and research centers. The main part of the value chain is quite focused on sustainability issues. It's also advanced in terms of percentage of biological production, and it's also characterized by advanced cooperation with other economic sectors. For example, the most evident one in this beautiful mountain region, which is tourism. And what also we have seen is that mountain origin is one of the key assets of wine marketing. So the slogan, sparkling wine from mountains, is widely used by the producers and also by producers union in their promotional campaign in local and international level. After the extended value chain analysis, we have come to conclusion that in this particular case, up to 90% of activities take place in the area, in the focus region, and up to 80% of value generated by this value chain remains on the territory. It's distributed among the local community, which, talking about all the diversities of cases analyzed during the project, was quite one of the most successful cases. But we should acknowledge that a large private winery, the group of large private wineries have an important role in this success factor. Now we are traveling back to Spain, and we are talking about Huesca province, and here we are talking about relatively young value chain, but with a strong historical background, and which the wine production there was abandoned in between 60s and 80s due to strong demographic change and practically escape from rural areas to the cities. But now it was started to rebuild and to recover old abandoned vineyards and plant new ones. Here we're talking about mostly small and medium wineries, and we should acknowledge the very important role of the associations of Vignerons de Huesca in the synergy and in the functioning of the whole value chain. The focal product are still wines from local and international varieties. The value chain is also characterized by biodiversity. Viticulture coexists with cereals and almond production. Talking about knowledge and innovation system, here we have observed quite an important role of peer-to-peer learning and exchange between the producers along the value chain. Regarding professional and agronomic winemaking advice, here the support is given from the research centers in neighbor regions of Rioja and Zaragoza, for example. As I already mentioned, one of the strong factors which was influencing the value chain and the region at all was the demographic factor. Now it's could more or less moderate, but still it's an important factor due also to limited attractiveness of the region and in general rural mountain areas for younger people. The lack of social services, hospitals, schools, etc. It's a very important obstacle for development of this type of value chains. In case of Huesca, in this particular value chain, we have seen that up to 50% of activities take place in the area, up to 70% of value generated by wine production stays in the territory and goes to the local community, which is not as excellent as the previous case, but still quite a good result and shows a potential for development. Quite a different situation we observe in Portugal. Portugal, I guess everybody is imagining wines of Porto and fortified wines as a first thing, but here we're still talking about Douro River, but the higher parts, so-called Alto Douro, where the grapes are grown also for production of still wines. And in this particular case, the main features of value chains are very beautiful mosaic landscape and high biodiversity, peculiar soil and climatic conditions that do impact grape and wine characteristics, and there are some very specific types of wine that could be produced. There are several small producers, but the biggest role take large companies from outside the region, from Porto area also, which are using this, the potential and all the positive sides that mountain can offer to the wine production. They invest in the territory, they invest in the land, but they do not increase the final added value for the territory. As they bring their workers to work the land, they bring back the results of their work, but they're not investing in the development and social infrastructure of the region. The region is also characterized by high touristic potential that two UNESCO protected sites in one place, but unfortunately, as we have observed, this is only potentially good situation, but still not explored in this period. They are not. We have not seen very much tourism in this particular area, and in this case, grape production is in the area, but processing and following phases are all progressively moving elsewhere, and as a consequence, also the added value does not remain in the region. Now I have presented all these three situations that seem very, very different, but I would like also to show you what they have in common, all the three. And one of the steps of the project, as Mar was describing, we made a vulnerability assessment. And basically, we have asked stakeholders in the place which are the main factors they consider affecting the most the future of the value chain and the wine production in general in the area. And on this comparative table, you can see the ranking of most frequent factors mentioned. And as you can see, in all three cases, there are 2 points that are always mentioned, which are soil quality and water availability. I will not go in technical details because of the very complete presentation we have seen from Professor Lissarago, but just I will stop a little bit on these two common challenges. Water availability and soil quality, that are also, of course, it's important to mention that they are two interdependent factors. What we mean by water availability, notice we don't mean that there is no water. There is water, but it is scarce, and also if we analyze the future trends, it becomes quite a dangerous problem. And another important factor here is that the viticulture often does not have sufficient bargain power to compete with other sectors like energy production or tourism, etc. So when we have a limited resource like water, it's possible that this resource will go to another sector and not for emergency irrigation in viticulture, for example. Talking about soil quality, there are two important factors. One is very logical one, that we know that it's naturally, the fertile soil layer is naturally thinner in mountain conditions. So it's something, there is a natural mountain characteristic, but also the recent climate change events, along with intensive agronomic practices, lead further to future deterioration. And this factor also is considered as a huge risk for mountain viticulture. But we have encountered these two common challenges and problems, but what could be the solutions proposed by stakeholders and different actors we were talking during the moving project? So in terms of water availability, the solutions could be the following. The installation of small-scale water reservoirs, but not big ones, in order not to interfere with mountain landscape. The implementation of water-saving agronomic solution, for example, decision support systems for smart irrigation. Development of local water management system with a focus on sustainability of irrigation's water use and recycling, maybe. And another option proposed was that water use should be minimized through agronomic practices and rational choice of planting sites. And also, I would add to the choice of planting varieties that of course, it's a very difficult choice to make, because when you plant a vineyard, you think like 30 years ahead, and it's not easy to program in this situation like now. In terms of soil quality, we could increase soil organic matter through careful agronomic approach, like use of green manure, cover crops, organic soil conditioners, variety and rootstock choice, micro-irrigation systems. Another interesting solution proposed, if I remember well, in Trento, is a maintenance of what was always previously done. It's like a sort of retro-innovation, maintain a family-scale animal breeding farm scattered in the mountain area, and it also help to have the soil organic matter available. And of course, it's crucial to strengthen the knowledge system for better uptake of agronomic and not only innovation, and to raise, in general, to raise awareness about all these challenges and possible solutions. Other important thing that has emerged in our dialogue with stakeholders are some needs of policy changes that also Mar has addressed in a more general way in her presentation. And in terms of viticulture and wine productions, the following steps were proposed. Like the first one, that the policy should act as a balance keeper and intervene when necessary to support agriculture in competition for water concessions, increasing the bargaining power of the farming sector. The conflict of interests between recreational parks and adventure tourism should be regulated. The conflict of interest between tourism and agriculture should be regulated in terms of also irrigation. This proposition was also born in Trento because one of the examples, there's one of the lakes very visited by tourists during the summer season. But if irrigation is needed, the water is taken from this lake. So when the situation, when tourists come and there is practically no water in the lake, so they're very disappointed. So there is quite a tension between touristic sector and agricultural sector. Policy should acknowledge and safeguard farmers' role as a land keeper and a land manager who can protect the territory from also from hydrogeological risk. And investment in irrigation infrastructures well adapted to the difficulties of mountain landscape and parcel distribution. And policy should also support knowledge development in sharing in all its manifestations. And that would be all from me. Thank you very much for your attention and for your patience.